in the weekend phone call with NBC's Kristen Welker, President Trump made several comments regarding Vladimir Putin and Russia, referring to reporting on Friday that Putin suggested a transitional government be put in place in Ukraine. Trump said that made him, quote, very angry, adding that's not going in the right direction. He reportedly went even further, telling Welker that if a broad ceasefire deal isn't reached and he feels as if it's Russia's fault, he will put secondary sanctions on the country. Put that thought on hold for a second. Jonathan Lemire, you had something to say about the tariffs, and then we're going to turn to Richard on Russia.
Yeah, I just want a final beat on the tariffs. As of last night, senior White House aides, including Kevin Hassard, who's like the head of the Economic Council, they do not know what tariffs are coming on Liberation Day, Wednesday, Donald Trump's day, because so much of this is going to be Trump's last minute, his whims, his last minute decision, and his personal feelings are clearly going to be involved here. So adding to Frank's point earlier about the instability, how no one can, markets, businesses, no one can plan because nothing has been settled yet. So that is another piece here as we're watching.
So now back to Russia, Richard, and I'll just take that. Well, at some point, what Liberation Day means, actually, what that means, and the use of that phrase itself, in so many ways, has some other meanings. But tell us a little bit about these specific comments that Donald Trump has made about Putin. What do they tell you? And do they ultimately, in the big picture, mean anything?
Look, the good news is the president, for the first time, evidenced some frustration with Vladimir Putin, who's clearly stalling.
Yeah.
You know, Putin has rejected the 30-day unconditional ceasefire, is putting out all sorts of other ideas with all sorts of conditions. He is not serious about bringing this war to an end because he believes time is his friend. He believes Russia is gaining a little bit of territory, and he knows that U.S. support for Ukraine down the road is uncertain. So Putin wants to test that. The problem with what the president said is he has the wrong remedy. The answer is not secondary sanctions. That essentially means you would sanction China, India, and Turkey, the three biggest importers of Russian energy. So we'd create bilateral issues with all of them without really having a significant impact on Russia's economy. We want to change Vladimir Putin's calculus. It's not that hard. What we need to do is announce that U.S. support for Ukraine with military support and intelligence support will go on indefinitely, so Ukraine can defend itself. This takes away from Putin the argument that time's on his side.
Right.
This means we will support Ukraine. And if you do get to a ceasefire, we still need to support Ukraine. Why? Because Russia's going to continue to produce arms and get ready. We don't want a ceasefire to be temporary. We want a cessation of hostilities to be permanent. The only way I know how to do this, Mika, is for the United States to step up and essentially keep the spigot open. We can argue about how much and so forth. And, you know, to defend Ukraine, it's not going to liberate Crimea. But the United States needs to be steadfast in its support for Ukraine. That is the signal that Donald Trump needs to send to Vladimir Putin. Then he actually increases the chance of getting this peace he so properly wants. But right now, he has the right idea, but he's going about it in exactly the wrong way.
President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass. Thank you. Jonathan.
Yeah, so Anne Applebaum, it is, as Richard said, encouraging, I suppose, that President Trump, for once, has a crossword for President Putin. I guess my first question to you is simply, do you believe him? And my second is, okay, let's say that's the case. Everything in these pre-negotiations right now, the White House has sided with Russia, sided with their negotiation stance, made Ukraine be the one to suggest there'll be concessions. So if it's not, Richard says secondary sanctions, that's not going to get it done. So if actually we do believe President Trump wants to get this done and is willing to be tough with Russia, what does that look like?
So first of all, this story reminds me of the Oscar Wilde quote about second marriages. You know, it's a triumph of hope over experience. This is actually the fourth time that Trump has threatened Putin with sanctions or with something. And I would also draw your attention to something he said a little bit later, getting onto Air Force One yesterday. He said, I don't think he's going to go back on his word about Putin. He said, you're talking about Putin, and I've known him for a long time. So I would have some doubts about whether this is the case. I mean, it is, of course, true that the Russians are blocking a ceasefire. They don't want one. They still think they're going to win the war either militarily or through diplomacy. And, as Richard Haass says, the only real answer to this, the only one that makes any sense, is to present them with, an unshakable, decision with us and our allies to continue supporting Ukraine so that the Russians don't win. And it's only when they conclude that they can't win that they'll stop the war. I just don't know whether President Trump sees that yet or not.
Yeah, I was just returned from Europe, and I was talking, Mika, to political scientists in Germany who spend a lot of their time watching the situation in Ukraine, and they're pretty despondent about the chances for any deal for Ukraine that doesn't look, as they put it to me, either a bad deal or a very bad deal. At this point, coming from the White House, they just don't see Donald Trump wanting to put that kind of pressure, whatever he said this weekend. And as Anne said, it's not the first time that he has said things like this, threats like this against Putin. He just doesn't follow up on them. In the end, he sides with Putin over Zelensky and over Ukraine. So let's see what happens there. But the mood certainly in Europe about Ukraine is pretty gloomy at the moment.
Well, like what Anne Applebaum is writing about, the Hungarian model, there's a lot of things happening at once, a lot of pressure points.